Hey everyone, so I am making this video to kind of go with an article that has published recently about why gay travel still matters. And I'm doing that because lately I've gotten a lot of messages from people asking me why the blog is called My Normal Gay Life. Even my father-in-law has told me that he thinks that I should call it my adventurous life to include more people. But the thing about it is, I call it my normal gay life because I am living my normal and I happen to be gay. And I like that. So it's called My Normal Gay Life. I'm not necessarily trying to expand my audience to include the whole entire world. I have a very specific focus on LGBT people. And the reason for that is because we are often excluded from so much. So I write my travel articles and create travel videos that can be seen and viewed and read by anyone in the world. The advice that I give often is for anyone, unless I'm writing a course about a very specific gay-oriented hotel or a gay event or a gay resort or something like that. Of course, that's intended for the LGBT community. However, everything that I write, everything that I create can be used by anyone. The advice that I give for traveling to different places, it can be used by anyone at all, regardless of your sexual orientation, your gender, regardless of anything. So that needs to be put out in the open. Now, on Instagram, I get messages from a lot of you all the time, and most of the time, they're pretty nice. Sometimes they're hateful, and sometimes they're, dick pics, which, thanks. But the ones that really get to me are the ones who come from gay people or straight people who, again, question why I have to emphasize the gay aspect of it. So recently I got this message from a gay guy who lives somewhere in the United States. And he basically laid into me in a pretty hateful way about the fact that I emphasize being gay. And he said that labels divide us and that when he travels, it doesn't matter if he's gay or straight because he's never felt any discrimination from anyone, la, 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 la. And I told him, well, I'm very happy for you that you've never felt any type of discrimination. Now, this guy happens to be a cis white male. So feeling discrimination isn't something that he probably has to deal with on a daily basis. Me, on the other hand, this is brown, I'm gay, and I also just happen to be very susceptible and sensitive to things. But this guy, he said he never experienced this when he was traveling. So I understand if you've never had that experience, then you don't understand why. But that is not the case for most people. There are still places in the world where it is very much dangerous for gay people to travel. We would have to hide our identities, hide that part of ourselves, not our identities necessarily, and whatnot. Also, this guy happens to not be married. I'm married, and I travel with my husband a lot. So when we're entering a country, we want to enter together. So I gave him this example, and this happened to us in November 2018, at the very beginning of November. So Alfred and I went to Panama, the country. We went to visit Panama City, and everything was great. We were on the plane. We were flying with Delta Airlines. Delta, if you're watching this, you need to educate your crew. But we were flying with Delta Airlines, and we asked the flight attendant because she handed us one customs form. So we said, should we fill out 2 customs forms? We don't know what the situation is in Panama when it comes to gay marriage. She said, oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You're married, you're a family, fill out 1, you will be okay. So that's what we did. We trusted the flight attendant, whose job it is sort of to know these things. We get to the customs line, we're going through, we get to the last step when they're about to x-ray our bags, and the guy at the customs table says, where's your form? Pointing at me, because Alfred had that form in his hand. And he's speaking in Spanish. So I go, oh, we are married and we are a family, so we only filled out 1 form. And he looked me straight in the face and he said, we don't allow that shit in our country. We don't allow that shit in our country. You are not a family. And then he forced me to get out of line, go find a customs form and fill it out. Meanwhile, before I got out of line, I told Alfred, go through, I'll be right back. Alfred didn't have a clue what was happening because he doesn't speak Spanish. And it was pretty mortifying because as I'm walking away to go find a form, I'm watching other families that are a male and a female and their children, or a male and a female. Some of them are obviously not even married, they're just dating. They're all getting to go through the customs line together as a family. We who are married, we were not allowed to. It was absolutely depressing. And it felt like we were being treated like second-class citizens, like second-class human beings, because we're not citizens of Panama, obviously, but as second-class human beings. That was a really crappy situation, and it was so extremely disrespectful. Now, I won't let that experience mar my overall experience of Panama. Panama's incredible, but that was just a terrible situation, and that's another one of those situations where people who say, gay travel's not different, la la la. Well, I'm sorry to let you know, it is. We have to go through these things. Just because you have not yet, or just because you're straight and you don't, does not make it not so. There have been times when Alfred and I are checking into a hotel, and they ask us if we want 2 beds. 2 beds. They don't assume that with other couples, but they assume that with 2 guys coming in together, that they're gonna want 2 beds. That's almost innocuous, but it's still not okay. People have asked me if he's my brother. Come on, like, Alfred and I look nothing alike. We're not even close to resembling each other. But somehow they want to assume that we're brothers, you know? And there was another instance in Romania when a woman who represented a region of Romania basically told me that LGBT people are welcome in the city that she represents, but that we basically kind of need to stay in our little section at a special hotel for people with our attitudes, flower children. And that was at a conference with a lot of other travel bloggers, luckily, and a lot of them stood up for me, but it still is another example of how gay travel is different, while it's still not different, because we get on planes, we travel to other places, and we do it for the experience. So we do it all for the same reasons. But gay travel is different in that sense, that we have to deal with certain things that heterosexual people do not have to deal with. And gay people and straight people who deny that, I don't understand. Because gay people, you should be concerned for your safety sometimes, and your comfort. And straight people, well, obviously you don't know that this even exists because it's not your experience. But I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about that because it's really important. Another way that gay travel is different is that we are a lot more liberal with our lives. So there's a lot more nudity, and there's a lot more partying, I would say, for gay people. It's specifically gay destinations such as P-Town, Fire Island, the Canary Islands, whatever it might be. That's another way that it's different. But I think it's really important that we have LGBT representation in the travel industry, where, quite frankly, there's quite a lot of discrimination towards gay people. It is getting better because we're one of the fastest growing money demographics in the world for travel. We spend more on travel and experiences than on any other demographic. It's growing, it's getting better, but we have a long ways to go. And in the meantime, if I can't even go through a customs line in a country that's pretty gay friendly, then with my husband, that's why we still need gay travel. So I don't want people telling me that it's unnecessary, that I need to change my name, because I'm not gonna do that. Gay is my label. It's a label that I choose, and I own it. I'm very proud of it. It's part of who I am. It helps to define me. It has brought me happiness. It has brought me sadness. But in the end, it is mine, and it will not change. Gay travel is important, and I won't have people telling me that it's not. Anyway, so until next time, guys, we will see you later.